Hi everyone, welcome back to another edition of my videos, and today I wanted to show off a very nice trap called the Nescafe Frappe attack, or what also has been called the Kenko variation against the Benko Gambit. So this was part of a very interesting game that I played in the 30+30 Lone Wolf Chess League on Lichess. It started off with my really cool trap. It ended up in a bit of a time scramble, and you'll see some very exciting positions being played very soon. So let's have a look at the game. Okay, so the game started with d4, knight to f6, c4, c5, d5, and we have the move b5, which signifies the Benko Gambit. Now, in preparation for this, I'd looked on Chess Opening Tree just to see what he played, and I knew he played a Benko Gambit. And just by pure chance, Simon Williams yesterday released a video on a trap against the Benko Gambit. So I thought, I'll have a quick look at this and see if this is any good. And well, I found out that actually this trap is not bad at all. And actually, even if the trap doesn't work, you still get about an equalish position, you know, and it serves you right then for playing a trappy line. The challenge with the Benko Gambit, though, for those who have ever played against it, is white will go up a pawn, most likely, but he has to deal with a lot of long-term pressure from black. Now, I myself, I don't particularly like to have to go through long-term pressure. I don't want to have a 50 move win that I feel like I've kind of just survived essentially. So I thought, why don't we play a bit of a trappy line and have a look at Simon's recommendation. So here I captured here on b5, and then a6 was played. And normally in this variation you are to take this pawn. The game continues. Bishop will maybe come out here, and you've got these sort of lines, let's say d6, and I've seen this sort of stuff before where black captures here, but white will maybe play either g3 and tuck the king into that nice light square where it's not going to be under attack, or you could even put h3 and then shuffle the king over into a nice safe position. And this is absolutely fine. The downside of this for white is he's going to have a lot of long-term pressure, particularly along these this queen side. So that's why instead of this, I decided to have a look through Simon's recommendation at this move, knight to c3. So this is known as the Zaitsev variation. Apparently it was first played in 1975, according to Simon, by Zaitsev against Paul Benko himself, and he used it to win a very nice game. So here the best move is to capture on b5. Why not? Black just goes, okay, well, you're not going to take the gambit, I will take back my lost pawn. And it looks quite intimidating. He's got some really menacing looking pawns here that are pushing down quite a lot on the queen side here. So here I now play the move e4, and it sets up a bit of an interesting trap here. Now, the move that most Benko players will play, and it is the main line, and it's been played pretty much like 90% of the time. I'll have a picture you can see there of the Lichess stuff, is the move b4. And here, this now relinquishes the knight from his defensive duties on e4. So we move the knight to b5. And this is where the trap is been set. Now, for a lot of you, particularly if you're playing on blitz or bullet, you'll probably go, yeah, I'll capture this knight. And you think, yeah, what's wrong with this move? I've taken a central pawn, I've got a very nice looking position, his knight looks a bit stupid over here. The problem is, this is where the trap has been set. Queen to e2. And it's actually a totally lost position now for black. Again, I'll show you the Lichess database here. White has nearly won pretty much every one of his games. It's 87% win rate for white in this position on all of the online games. The problem here for black is now very simple. If he moves this knight back to f6, which looks like a logical square to go to, oopsie daisy, you have been part of 379 other players falling for a checkmate via smothered mate. Really, really cool. And it's very difficult for black here. What can he do in this position? If he plays a move like f5 to try and defend the knight, f3 pretty much wins. And even if the black comes back to f6, this is still checkmate. So definitely you don't want to fall for something like that. So really what black is going to lose his knights. It's going to be a lost position here. Whatever he does, he can move his... wherever he moves this knight, we're going to be either smothering him or we're just going to be winning the knight outright. So going back. So here my opponent fought for a very long time. As I say, you can see the timestamps here. I didn't spend much time in the first few moves. My opponent was on 30 minutes at this point, and I believe he spent about 16-17 minutes on this move. And rightfully so. He's about to lose a knight here. He needs to come up with some counterplay. Here he played the move bishop to a6, and he just kind of accepted, okay, I'm going to lose my knight here. I captured here on e4, and this is the problem for black. I'm still threatening just to come to this square, and to be honest with you, most of the games have just ended up with the bishop capturing here, and well, the game kind of continues. Here my opponent played d6, at least stopping the smothered mate's attempt here. The problem with this move is now I can play bishop to f4. I've now got the threat back again. So just to show you, if let's say black just plays a really stupid move like h6, we can now capture here. This comes with check. The pawn is pinned, and if you can't take back with the queen because our bishop comes to the rescue. So still very, very bad position for black here. So here my opponent captured here on b5. I then captured back with check. Black's only move here was to play knight to d7, after which I had a very nice attack with bishop takes on d6, taking advantage of the fact that this pawn is pinned, and there's not a whole lot that black can do here. Of the 6 games that have been played, all of which that white have won, the most popular move here is queen to b6, which is quite nice because it now attacks both bishops. But after this, I think white can get a comfortable edge with just capturing this this knight. And after the king captures, now going into the centre, no longer being able to castle, white can just move back his bishop to maybe f4, and just play a very simple game. Maybe get his knight to f3, castling is very, very good. So in the actual game, my opponent here played queen to a5, and this has a very interesting idea attached to it. So not only is it attacking the bishop, but also he's got some potential counterplay with the move b3. So keeping it very, very, very sharp, this position. Here I decided to make a very brave move here. I probably should have played just a very simple, straightforward move here, queen to e2. I guess what I worried about with this move is I wasn't too happy after the move b3 with my king no longer being able to castle. But having said that, I'm so far ahead in this position that an uncastled king is not the end of the world. But with this move, it makes sense. It keeps the queen in close contact with my bishop, so it removes that threat. And if he doesn't play this move, well, I just get my knight out, and then maybe I get my king castled. What's interesting is if you do play the move b3, king to f1 is absolutely fine here. I quite like this move. Gets your king out of the way. It's on the light squares as well. Notice that black hasn't got a light square bishop, so it's absolutely safe and fine here. In fact, I can do moves like knight to f3. In fact, I can play like sort of Benko style for white by playing the moves g3 and then tucking my king up there at some point in the future and just maintaining a healthy edge in the position. Now, in the actual game, I didn't do this though. So after queen to a5 here, I decided to go a little bit risky. I captured here on e7, and actually this is a big mistake. It's actually a blunder according to the engine. It looks very nice. I had a very simple plan here of if he took this bishop, I then push my pawn to d6 which would then pin his bishop. Now the problem here is black has got some nice counterplay, and again I missed this in the game. So here, what's fascinating about this position, very quickly, you can't take this bishop. This is totally lost. This would just be a very simple mate. You go bishop here with check. The only move to block the check bishop here, you lose in 2 moves. So you definitely can't do that. So the correct response that black could have played to keep him in the game, albeit I'm still got a winning edge in the position, we're talking sort of 1.5 on the computer, is the move b3. I really like this move. So this comes with the check, and the king hasn't really got a whole lot of good squares it can go to. You don't particularly want to go to either of these 2 light squares, as the queen captures the bishop with tempi. So really the only move that makes sense is king to d1. But actually, with it being on d1, it makes a huge difference in the complication. So you now capture here on e7. d6 is played, and my thinking and my thought process was, oh, okay, brilliant. If he castles short, I take the this bishop. He has no time to take my bishop here, as I'm going to be attacking his rook. And also, not just that, his knight is also hanging in this position. There's just too much hanging around in this position. However, what I missed was another try from black here, and that is castling long. Would you believe it, in this position? I know it looks crazy, but there's a few problems here for white. You know, if I just take this bishop, let's say he takes this bishop back, and suddenly actually black seems to kind of untangle himself a little bit here. Okay, I can take here and promote. I don't know. I'm not entirely happy. Black has got enough attack going on here. If I whack on the engine, oh, it still says I'm winning quite comfortably. I wonder if there's a better move here that I could play. Oh, okay, even better. Just do this first. There we go. So with the check, yeah, and this is fascinating. Now, where does my king go? If I move it up, if I move it to c2, this is just terrible. It comes with a check. Where does the king go? Well, this is checkmate, and I think even if I go here, this is still pretty bad for me. You know, this sort of checking idea, I lose my queen. it's just it's quite mind blowing. And okay, you know, let's have a look. In fact, maybe I just keep the rook on. Oh no, actually I can't, because the bishop's there. But if I capture, he takes. You know, this is winning for black. Okay, you know, the king comes here, but there must be some sort of mating idea here somewhere. You know, something like this. I don't know. Oh, that's checkmate there. So you know, that's yeah, that's what could have happened in the game, and I would have looked really stupid having played this trap and then lost this position. So that's a very interesting idea, and something I missed. Some other line that I looked at as well with the engine is, you know, queen can come to c6 with check. This looks really dangerous. But after the king comes to b8, there isn't actually anything here for white. You know, you might be thinking, oh, I put the bishop here. How is he going to stop this mating threat? Well, queen to b6, cool as a cucumber. Black holds on in this position. You know, even just stuff like this. This is really interesting because, you know, you think, oh yeah, I take this bishop, but look, oh, what's this? Oh, it's an illegal move. Crazy, isn't it? Just absolutely mad stuff. So I thought that was really interesting, that sort of position there. But anyway, so going back to what actually was played in the game. Thankfully, my opponent didn't see this bit of counterplay. He took my bishop here, and this allowed me to throw in the check. There's only really one move he can do here, because he has to sacrifice the knight on e5. Again, he can't play bishop here because this just leads to immediate mate. So he puts his knight in the way, and I had a decision: do I take with the queen or do I take with the bishop? I think both moves are absolutely fine here. Both lead the same way. I took with the bishop because I thought there'll be some sort of attacking ideas. I did miss, though, this move here that black can play. He castled long. Again, you wouldn't even think these moves would be possible in such a crazy position. But this castle's long kind of keeps him in the game just about. So here, I thought it was high time to try and get some of my stuff developed. It's a little bit difficult for me though, because I want to get this knight out, but this queen is well, I want to get the knight out, and then castle, but the queen is blocking my my castling rights here, but on B6 and B5. Now the best move, again according to the engine, castle's long, but I just, something in my head just kind of went, this just does not look safe. And I don't want to be stupid here. Again, I'm up materially. Why do I need to risk hell and leather in this position? So I decided here after this to play knight to e2. And now I'm just going to be simply castling here. The problem with this move though is it does create a bit of pressure on this knight. This sort of idea was a very uncomfortable plan that black had, and I was a bit worried about some of the complications. But anyway, so f6 was played. I threw in a check. I thought, why not? And also it keeps an eye on this this knight, and I don't have to worry about these potential complications along here. King came to b7, bishop to g3, getting out of the way. h5 was played, which is a really interesting trying to deflect my queen potentially, and also hit my bishop at some point. I put my queen to f3, h4 was played, but this was fine. I put my bishop to f4. I'm not worried about this move, which is what he did play, as now I tuck my bishop onto e3. I'm absolutely fine here. My knight is well guarded. I'm going to be castling next move. It should be okay. The problem for me though is my time. I'm now down to 6 minutes here. I did kind of mess around a little bit with that e7, and I think if I look at sort of the moves all the way up to the capture, so we had move 13, I was on 22 minutes, and then to get to this position, so we're on move 19. So I spent quite a bit of time for some reason. I don't know why. I think I was just worried about some complications at this point. But I'm absolutely fine in this position, so everything's all defended. I did spend, as I say, 16 minutes on the past 8 moves, which is, yeah, it's quite a lot of time, particularly for this sort of time control, albeit 30 plus 30 seconds increment. So bishop to g7 was played, protecting the pawn. I now threw in the check, very spiteful. He put his king to b8, and here I just had a little plan of just maybe trying to go for this pawn march down here, and I thought this looks pretty good. So I played a4 here, and I'm not worried about this sort of en passant stuff. I take here. I'm threatening checkmate in 1 here, so there's not a whole lot that black can do in that position. So instead, my opponent played queen to c4, and I made a bit of an error here by playing the move a5. I thought I could just keep marching the pawn down, so this was a mistake. Better was a move like queen to c6, and there really isn't much that black can do here. It protects and guards the pawn. I'm also threatening just to take here on this square, and just throw in just some nasty checks that black is going to have difficulties trying to parry, and he's not really threatening anything in this position at the minute. But instead I played the move a5, thinking I could just keep pushing it down. The problem here is I now drop my d6 pawn, and I was like, that was really stupid of me. Still got a winning position, but I'm starting to make it a bit more difficult for myself. I push on a6 anyway. I thought, well, we'll get a pair of rooks off. I'm now only up 2 points materially, so really that whole entire folly and that entire exchange kind of put me in a worse position. And as you can see here, I'm starting to get even lower on time. So do I manage to hold out here? I castled. He played the move f5, so unleashing this bishop along here. The problem with this move though is by moving the f pawn, he now relinquishes his defense on g5. So I took on g5. He took on b2. I threw in a check. Again, I was so low on time. I was just like, okay, throw a check just to get my 30 seconds. And this was a safe looking check, safe enough anyway. His king came to a7. I put my rook to b1, and actually this is a bit of an annoying move for black, as there's not really any great squares he can go to with his bishop. He has to go. He goes to a3. And now that this bishop's really offside over here, it's got very little scope due to these pawns, and it's going to be kind of guarding them for pretty much the rest of the game. The problem for me though is I want to get this knight activated, but if I ever move this queen away, this knight's going to go walkies. So it's it's hard for me to get this knight into play. So h3 was played. I thought I'll just create a little escape, trying to get out of any of these stupid tactics that I could fall into. Queen came to c4. I put my bishop to e3 again, now defending this knight, so that gives me a little bit more breathing room for this queen to potentially do some more stuff. His rook came to f8, now defending this pawn, and rook to d1. I quite like this move. I'm now just threatening just to come down here, and it's actually very difficult for him to manage his threat. He plays his king to b6. I threw in the check, and his king came to a5. In this position, I took here on c5. I thought it was a really nice move. The idea being, if he captures with the queen, we put the rook here, and then it's obviously going to just be game over. I've taken the queen off, and I should be absolutely fine. In the game, though, he just played he played rook to e8. Now putting a bit of pressure on this knight. I put my bishop back to e3, just defending everything again. His rook came to e5. This was actually a key blunder. He was also, as you can see, very low on time as well. But by moving this rook away from the defence of this rank, I was able to get my queen in the back. King came forward, and then I threw in the checkmate on a6. So that really was a very, very close game at the end, especially with my time being so short. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you liked this little trap. By all means, do check out Simon Williams' video looking at the Nescafe Frappe attack, the trap in the Benko Gambit. But if you like what you see and you want to see more analysis videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and look forward to any more future content that I put out on my channel. Anyway, take care. Bye-bye.